All
Should we
right.
talk about because it's Thursday, should we talk about the giveaway first?
For sure. For sure, we can talk about the giveaway. So, if you guys tuned in for the 420 episode, you guys will know that we are doing a little giveaway for the people that support us. And if you guys watched, you guys saw the car fresheners that we have. We're super excited to make those and to give those away. So, again, if you guys need the details, you have to leave a 5-star review post and then leave your handle or reach out to us personally and we can get those to you. A reminder that we only made 20, so like once they're gone, they're gone. But yeah.
Dude, and like the person whoever's in France, we got one reserved for you for
Yeah,
when you hit
dude,
us up.
like technically only 19 then. Like the one's reserved. One's done.
Yeah, we got one for you whenever you reach out to us. So reach out to us. And they were designed by Jackie, by the way. If you guys didn't hear already, they
Yes.
look amazing.
Thank you.
So yeah, make sure you guys go ahead and check all that out.
So a couple years ago, I went on spring break with my boyfriend to Florida, and we were gonna take a 1-day trip to Miami. So we went down there, and like Miami weather is like so crazy because like sometimes it's like raining, and then like 10 minutes later it's like scorching hot.
And you guys drove all the way down there.
And we
too.
drove all the way there, and get this, the car that we took had no air conditioning.
Oh, fuck.
It had no air conditioning, or if it did, it was like really weak. You know, it was like really not at all. So like, we were driving through Georgia. It was such a bitch, dude. I think driving through Georgia was like brutal.
It's like dry heat too. Fuck.
Yeah. But then, yeah, we got down there and like that was a humid heat. So I was like, fuck. Anyways, we saw some crazy shit down in Miami while we were down there. But we did go try to find like some place to have dinner at that night because we went to the beach and it got kind of like fucked up because like it started raining and then we had to like leave. So we were like, fuck it, let's find something to eat like later in the day.
Is it common to rain in Miami?
Yeah, I think so. Like in Florida, it's very much like it rains and then it doesn't, like random times, like all day, every day. But yeah, we were down there and it was like dinner time around there. So it was like nighttime. And then I would say almost like very nighttime. It was like 10 or 11. And we're down there and we're walking around and we're trying to go to where all the restaurants are because we're like where all the shopping, like all the strip stores are or whatever. And we see like this entourage of like guys like coming our way and we were like, okay, like we'll just like go around and whatever. And we hit like the light where we're supposed to cross, and then I'm like looking across and I'm like, oh shit, that kind of looks like Sway Lee. And like I didn't say anything, like my boyfriend didn't say anything, but like we walked past them, like we made eye contact, like Sway Lee looked at us. We looked at him.
You specifically, or he looked at your boyfriend?
I think he looked at both of us, like glanced like at both of us, and then kind of almost being like, "Fuck, like you're gonna say something," you know? But we didn't, and we just like walked past, and we were just like, "Oh shit, was that Sway Lee?" And we were like, "Yeah," and we were like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." So, anyways, we kept going up and down because we couldn't find any place to like eat, and we passed them like 2 or 3 more times, you know? And then the last time that we saw him, he was like crossing the street. And I wonder if he thought that like we were following him, but like we weren't. Like we were just trying to find some place. And then like he and his entourage, like they crossed the street and they went into like an H&M. And we were like, oh, okay. And I was like, oh shit, they're gonna like open up the H&M like just for Sway Lee and his boys.
Because like later in the day already?
Yeah, because it was like 11. And then I like looked up the H&M times and like they closed like super late because it was like Miami, you know? So I was like, oh, that's cool. Maybe he's getting fitted in the H&M, you know? But it was pretty cool.
Can you imagine being the H&M employees? Like, you're ready to go home, and they're like, yo, we got to stay, like, the next 2 hours. Sway Lee's coming in. You're like, I don't give a fuck. Like, who the fuck?
And then Sway Lee doesn't buy anything. He just looks.
He tries on everything, but doesn't actually buy anything.
Oh, my God.
Fuck.
But, yeah. We didn't want to say anything. Like, we didn't want to be weird. Like, we also, like, weren't trying to be on that. You know, we were hungry, so we were on a mission.
At the end of the day, like just imagine how many people already told him something, you know? And
I
it's like he's
know.
probably tired of that shit.
And like his boys, like they didn't look friendly, you know? They were almost like looking like ready to be like no pictures. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Shit like that.
Hey, young America, we need to talk about something called grass. Not that grass. I'm talking about marijuana.
It's stimulating, mind expanding.
How much do you think bodyguards get paid?
I think a lot, dude. The companies, because you know, like they're hired, like they're managed by like companies or whatever. But I think they make like pretty decent money. I mean, like, dude, they have to have like they have to give their life. I'm pretty sure for like these people.
They carry guns, right?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, and like I'm sure that's all like certified. Like you have to be all like certified and shit. So like I'm sure it's like you have to pay for that too. You know,
Right.
like you want him to be like good and like certified and like from the best like company, whatever. So I'm sure that shit is expensive.
Damn. Is there someone who you would give your life for like that? Like to be security for?
What the fuck? But like, I wouldn't do that.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, some people obviously do it, but like, would you do it?
Like, put my life on the line. For like, does it have to be someone famous?
Well, I guess, yeah. Like if you're being hired by a company to be a security guard.
Shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't think that would be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Nah,
But who knows?
That's too much pressure.
You're like, nah, like I'll do it. You're just waiting for my response. I say no. Oh, actually, yeah, no, bro.
No, I don't think I would do it, honestly. I don't think I'd make a good bodyguard. But dude, there was this one time when I had Twitter, right? This was a while ago, like
Damn,
2-3
this is
years
prehistoric days.
ago. I got into a Twitter fight with Joe LaPuma.
Oh, you're so problematic.
And for those who don't know, Joe LaPuma, he's known for like sneaker shopping on Complex. So I think like he created that whole
Did he
segment.
really?
I think like that was his idea.
I thought he was just like the host.
Nah, I think maybe some like intern at Complex created it, and then like he was just like, "I'm taking your fucking
Fuck it.
idea." Yeah.
He seems like the guy that would do that.
Mm-hmm. And so I was watching this one episode. He had YG on there, and YG just looked like he just did not look like he was having a good time, right?
Right.
And like Joe's asking him all these like
Stupid
generic ass questions, like stupid
like
questions.
not a good interview.
Right? Like this man's like just trying to buy some shoes. You know what I mean? Like that's all he's trying to do.
Right.
And so, after watching that episode, I tweeted out, I'm like, I wish YG would just knock out Joe LaPuma on sneaker shopping.
Oh my god.
I thought it was the funniest shit ever. And then, but Joe LaPuma didn't find it that funny.
Fuck you.
Dude, he replied literally within like 10 minutes.
No way.
And that man was like on his, he was like in his,
dead.
he
It's
was in his
almost like he
mentions.
knew that the episode was terrible. It's almost like he knew.
I mean,
He's
I'm not,
waiting.
what do you think to him like makes even like a bad episode?
What do you mean? Like for him or like for other people?
Well, I guess for him. Like, you think he knows when it's a bad episode?
Well, like I feel like you have to be some sort of like you have to have some sort of awareness to like realize that your guest isn't having a good time. You know? And if it's like extremely evident that YG was like not having it, like unless he's like really unaware of like his surroundings, then I'm sure he like had
I
a
could see him
sense.
being unaware though, you know? He's just him being just like, he's just taking up space.
He's gonna reach out, dude. He's gonna make his
Dude.
own podcast and he's gonna talk big shit about you.
And then we're gonna collab.
And then you guys are gonna fight. We'll have a YouTube special episode where you guys are fighting.
Okay, but who the judges?
Let's see. Who would be good? Like, do you want to keep it like within like Complex or like anyone?
Nah, it could be anyone. Ooh, fuck. Pharrell. Yeah, Pharrell for a
What
good
the
one.
fuck? I think he would like some good entertainment like that. And I'm sure a lot of people would like to see Joe LaPuma get rocked. You know? The Like,
Dude, we're gonna get like a cease and desist from fucking Complex.
oh my god.
But anyway, so I had.
They're gonna shut us down. All right, guys. It was nice knowing you.
It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
So he had tweeted back. So after I tweeted at him, he read it and he had tweeted back and he was like, something like you're just mad that you'll never be able to film an episode for like sneaker shopping because at my profile picture was like me holding a camera and I just thought it was a good picture. I liked the picture, you know.
Right.
I wasn't even doing videos seriously at that time, but
It was just a good pic.
It was just a good picture, right? And so like that was his comeback just by looking at
That's honestly the ugliest fucking comeback.
yeah, like the first thing you look at,
ooh,
that's like the first thing you come up with is okay, cool. And
like
so
you're never gonna be anything. Like
basically,
shut the
he was
fuck
basically trying to say
up.
that, but he said that later on. So this went on for like maybe like 3 more tweets, and
Oh,
so he was like,
shit.
"You're just mad you're never gonna film an episode for sneaker shopping," and I was like, and then I replied, I forgot what I replied, but it was something along the lines of like I never said I never wanted to, but
Right.
like that's cool. And then I think I had to maybe like one more thing, and then he replied saying, that's cool. Like you're basically never gonna do anything with your life, like just from looking at your profile or whatever.
We have to find the tweets.
Dude,
so
I think I
then-
can search it up.
What the
Yeah,
fuck?
I'm pretty sure I can search it up.
Dude, honestly, that's like such a piece of shit like way to say things. Like, why the fuck would you say that?
He was hurt, bro. Because the reason why he got so defensive is because he probably knew that it was a bad episode.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? Like, or else he
Yeah.
wouldn't be that upset. If it was a good episode, it's a good episode.
Right. He
So,
would have
like-
just like the fact that he even replied, like, fuck.
And bro, like everybody was texting me like, "This is the funniest shit ever." Like they were like, "Why would he even reply?"
Dude, honestly, yeah, dude, that's so fucking ugly.
Like in the big scheme of things, like realistically, I guess my presence on social media like isn't anywhere near where his is, and he's a lot more known in the industry. And then people from Complex started hopping into the comments too. They're like, "Oh, like Joe, like don't listen to him, like shit like that. Like he's just a stupid kid." And like
No
that's
way.
swear to God,
I honestly sometimes feel like the people at Complex are so head ass.
bro.
Like extremely head ass.
I can't even fucking start with all that shit. But no, I 100% agree. If just because like they have that, just because like they work
The
at
what, the
Complex,
clout?
they think- right?
For Complex.
Exactly.
I honestly feel like it's really not that cool. Like if you guys follow Complex like on Twitter, like you guys tweet out like the most redundant like articles. Like they're not interesting anymore. Like they're kind of boring, or it's like the same shit all the time. Where it's like, bro, like what the fuck are you doing?
I haven't looked at their articles recently, but I feel like the last time I did look at any of their stuff, it was basically turning into like TMZ at that point. Like they're just gossip at this point. It's nothing like
Puro chisme.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I'm sure there are cool people who do work at Complex though, like
Right,
obviously, but like those who think they're above everyone
Higher?
else, like okay, bro, like you gotta,
Bro,
you
like
gotta chill.
that's kind of ugly.
That is
I don't
ugly.
like that.
But yeah, that was basically the Twitter beef between me and Joe La Puma. So Joe La Puma, if you're listening, I'm
It's
down.
on site, bitch. Wait,
Oh, shit.
wait.
YG comes out and replies to this.
Oh my gosh, he agrees with you. Yeah, you're a little bitch.
But dude, that reminds me, because over the past couple days we've been busy on TikTok, or the TikTok's been busy,
Yeah, it's been
And
buzzing.
and we Jackie started receiving some hate comments.
Yeah, so this has been the first time that I've ever received any like real like collective internet hate, which I thought was like pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie, because it was a first. And I was like, okay, let's see what's up. And I really didn't think like the comment was like so controversial. Like I guess male egos are extremely fragile, but
Well, the clip was that you were basically saying that guys don't wipe after they pee, and like that
Right.
was literally like the clip. That was the clip.
it. I wasn't saying like all guys or like whatever. Like it's a known thing. Like it's common.
And you even said at the beginning too. You're like, oh, now like you know that all girls also aren't cleanliness. So it's not like you were just singling out the guys. You know what I mean?
But none of them would ever go out of their way to look at the other clips or like even
Listen to the podcast.
Listen to the
full
entire
thing,
episode.
Right.
Yeah, because I did say stuff about both, but I guess just about them, you know. But I do remember like when it first happened, and like I woke up and like there's a shit ton of like notifications, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck? And then I started reading the comments and I'm like, oh my God, this is like really funny. And then like I honestly like did feel like over the past couple of like hours and days, I did feel like your concern for me about the comments. But like I really didn't care. Like I honestly thought it was kind of funny. And I also thought it was really good for the pot. So I was like, fuck it.
No, I mean, dude, definitely people are gonna like tune in. I mean, it's only gonna bring more attention.
Right.
Which is, you know.
But I'm pretty sure that was like our first like viral video, like real viral. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I guess.
Bro,
it wasn't
then,
even like the best clip.
No, and then one of the guys, I'm pretty sure it's one of the guys, they went and left like a 1-star review on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, like no post, like nothing. Just like a singular like 1-star review. And I was like, aw.
They took the time out of their
fan
day.
Behavior. Fan behavior, babes. Stop.
They really took all that time to go through Apple Podcasts, search the podcast. They couldn't even listen to the episode.
Yeah,
they fucking left the
dude.
review, but it is what it is. I'm gonna use that little light pink.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for that, honestly.
But
we appreciate it.
I don't think that. So the reason why I was concerned about you was because some people might not take that hate like the same way, right? Like they take it very personally, and like why don't you take it personally?
I think it's because I realized that like no one actually knows me, and I live a really like calm life, and like I know who I am and I know what I say, so like I don't feel like I have like, I guess like problematic, like anything that would be like, oh my God, like these people are wishing death upon me. Like I'm going to get like really upset over it, you know, just like whatever. Like you don't know me. Like all I have to do is like turn my screen off. Like that's literally it. Like no one's real to me. Like none of you are real to me.
And she means that in the nicest way.
I mean that in the nicest way. I feel like everyone should like look at it that way, you know, where it's like this internet shit like isn't like, it's not real life. So, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, that's only like, I think we were saying the other day, like out of all the hate comments, it's like 1 to 10 comments, right? So like all the comments that we get that are bad, we also get like 10 more comments that are good.
Yeah.
And they're supportive. And we definitely do recognize everyone who leaves a comment like that, because like to take the time out of your day to leave a comment and like say that you actually enjoy listening to this, like it means a lot to us.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I love like reaching back out to you guys and like letting you guys know that, like you guys are appreciated. Like this is so crazy, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And we're excited. Oh, by the way, so we're hitting 5,000 downloads today. Dude, 2 weeks ago, I think we had just said like we hit 4K. So now we're at 5K. It's only been fucking 2 weeks, bro.
Yeah, honestly, like this is a really like amazing experience, I guess, like that we get to see, because like if you guys go back and listen to like one of the episodes from like New Year's, we did do like, I think it's like the first episode of 2021 where we talked about like our New Year's resolutions at the end of the episode, and I think we're on our way to hit like the 4th one, I think, where it was like having 10K by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And we're like almost halfway there.
Dude, it's only April too.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
It's amazing. We really appreciate it, guys.
And for those just coming in from TikTok too, like, you know, feel free to listen to skip the first 5. Like, don't listen to the first 5.
Skip the first 10.
But we appreciate all you guys. But talking about mean comments, we had an episode where we talked about nicknames. And one of my nicknames was Seko.
Oh, yeah. So the episode is literally called Seko, and you can go like listen back to that backstory about the nickname and stuff. And in the comments that we've seen from one of the other clips that popped up on TikTok that went a little viral, there's a lot of comments that said that
some of the trauma that our parents go through.
Projected onto us,
Right,
like the
gets
first
projected.
gen. Some of them, like, I actually saw a bunch of comments that were saying that, like, like the family's words sometimes, like growing up, like you would get these like nicknames, or like parents, like especially moms, would like comment on people on like their own child's like weight, and almost like on their insecurities, and like I thought that was so incredibly heartbreaking, because like I know like so many, like my dad's nickname, like it's still to this day, it's gordo, and like I don't want to say like it didn't affect my dad, because like I mean, like he's here now, like he's fine, but like at the time, like maybe that was like, like that really
Hurtful.
hurt him,
Hmm.
and I know like that rings true to like a bunch of kids out there that, like their moms, like, or their dads, like call you gordo, they call you flaca, they call you like all this other shit, especially moms, when they're just like, oh, like almost like judging their own children, like, oh, like you're gonna eat another plate, like, okay. But it's like,
Hmm.
why would you even say that, like that's so passive aggressive of you, like that's your child, I
Hmm.
think the whole like nourishment in like the community is like the whole talk of like nourishment and like healthy lifestyles and stuff, like it just really doesn't exist for like the culture, because like I know a lot like of my parents, specifically like my mom, she would always say like sometimes like we didn't have shit to eat, like we had to like eat whatever, like whatever we could find. So then like now I understand how like some parents, like they're just like pretty much like eat anything you want, like we can afford to have like food, and like I can afford to like feed everyone, so like I want you to eat as much as possible. If you don't eat enough, it's a problem. If you eat too much, it's still a fucking problem, where it's like the miras bien flaca, or like you're not gonna eat more, like eat more,
Hmm.
and then like when you do, like it's a problem. So I'm just like, what are these kids now like going through, like that they're bringing up until like their adulthood, it's like definitely like sad, it's like, yeah,
Hmm.
heartbreaking.
I think until when we had started like 9 months ago this podcast, I remember I was telling you like, oh, I'm like working out again or whatever, and I think I'm just now realizing that the majority of that is the reason why I wanted to work on and lose weight is because my whole life I've been called like skinny by my
Mhm.
parents, right? I got this flaco, like seco, like all that stuff, and so like I guess I never wanted to admit that truly like it did come from that. Like me
Mhm.
wanting to lose weight because I wanted to keep this image of myself that I've had since I was literally a kid.
Mhm.
And I was like, nah, it's just like me like being determined and like wanting to lose this weight for myself. But
Right.
like
Like you
I don't know.
mask it and almost like, well, I want to be healthy.
Hmm.
You whatever it is, when like deep down, like that's like something that was from like way before, that those are like the thoughts that you had in your brain about like, I want to like maintain or like be this certain like image, which I think is like extremely hurtful. But I really relate, because like same, like I grew up and I was like extremely skinny, and I just remember the comments like that, like a lot of even girls like had about me growing up. They'd literally ask me, be like, oh, are you anorexic? Like what kind of questions are those? Like for me, like that was extremely hurtful, because like I knew that I wasn't, but like even if I said no, they wouldn't even believe me, and I thought it was really hurtful. So growing up, like I always like wanted to gain weight. So I was like, well, what do I do to gain weight? And like obviously like eat more, but like also people were like, oh, well, you have to like work out. So like it was like a constant battle between like eating more, working out, not knowing any balance, because my parents didn't
Right. We
know
were never taught
any of
that.
that. They
Hmm.
didn't really tell us or teach us any like healthy eating habits or like anything like that, because I'm sure they didn't know either, same because of like the way they grew up. So it was just like a crazy time, like growing up and just like having body issues, you know?
It's also very hard to maintain a diet in a Hispanic household when a lot of foods are
Right.
fatty, oily, like,
Right.
tortillas alone, like,
Yeah, tortillas alone. And like when you try to change your eating habits, like if you live at home and like your mom's making tacos and you're like, actually, like I want to eat a salad, like I want to eat a little bit healthier, they get offended.
They're
They're
gonna be
just
like,
like, what the
like,
fuck
what?
do you mean? Like, okay, don't eat my food. Like it's not an attack on you. It's like, I want to change because I want healthier eating habits,
Yeah.
a healthier lifestyle. But I think it's something that, they also have to like realize and like know. But I don't know. I don't know if like they're old docs,
I don't know. I think a lot of that comes from just like communication. I feel like I've gotten better at talking to my mom. Like, okay, I don't want to be eating like this anymore. I want to take like 2 months to kind of just like get back on a good diet and like get on a better routine with everything. And so she'll just like make food for whoever else, but like
Right.
I'll make my own food and like specifically for what I want. And like she doesn't get offended anymore because she knows if I do want to eat, it's there.
Right.
But if I don't want to, then cool, it's like leftovers for someone else then, or for someone to take for lunch. So I don't know. I think it's just about talking to your parents. And I mean, obviously, like my situation is gonna be like everyone else's. Like some parents aren't gonna understand. They're gonna
Right.
be like, "Well, what do you mean?" Or like, "Okay, go feed yourself. Like you're ungrateful."
Yeah, pretty
So
much.
like I know I can't speak for everyone, but I don't know. I think just taking the first step and even telling your parents like I want to have a healthier diet or like whatever it is that you want.
Right.
And if they don't see
It goes for anything that I guess you would want to do, like that's different.
Mhm.
Like you just say like I just want to change, like I want like a better lifestyle like for myself, And I mean, yeah, I understand like some of them are probably going to get like offended, but like I feel like they just don't understand. And that's up to you if you want to like try to explain to them,
Right.
to have them like understand. But
A lot of the time that's really what it is. Like they
Mhm.
don't they get upset or they get defensive because like realistically they don't really understand why it is
Right.
that you want to be healthier. Because
Mhm.
diabetes is a huge problem in the Hispanic community, and especially like in my family, diabetes runs in my dad's side of the family, and I'm pretty sure my mom's side. And like that's something that I'm terrified of.
Yeah,
I'm
it
fucking
runs, yeah, on my
terrified
family,
of
both
doing that.
sides too. Like my grandma,
Mhm.
unfortunately, like passed away from diabetic like complications
Mhm.
and stuff. So definitely, like, a lot of my uncles, a lot of my aunts, they have it. And I always worry like about my parents and like I tell them like, hey, you should like regularly go more to the doctor because like, you're getting a little older and like this does run in the family. And it runs in the family where like they get it when they're a little older. So I'm just like, well, you have to like, keep an eye on it. But
Right. See, telling them like that is probably a lot more productive than being like, you guys need to go to the gym
yeah.
or you need to stop eating. Like,
Like
what?
there's other ways
Like
to like
what kind
say
of
things.
explanation is that?
Like you don't have
That
to
gives
be
you
as
nothing.
shocking,
Right. Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Dude, that shit terrifies me. I have a friend from high school who he was always active. He played soccer. He went to Europe to play soccer,
Oh, wow.
and he came back and I don't know. The last time I saw him, it was like a year ago. I think it was like a year ago. And before that, it was like maybe 2 years. So like we finally hung out and like we got to like catch up. And he told me, he's like, I haven't told many people, but I have diabetes. And
Oh
I'm like,
no.
dude, like what the fuck? Like I thought you were
Like the healthiest
the
person alive.
healthiest person, right? And he's like, no,
Mhm.
I'm just, just going out a lot and like eating out a lot. Like that's what caused it. And
Oh,
because I already
no.
have cousins who had it, so it's kind of passed down. I think that's how diabetes works. I'm not entirely sure, but
It can be genetic, and then you could also there's like one that's genetic, and then the other one you can get like at
just
any
through poor
time.
eating habits,
Yeah.
right? And like to hear him tell me that, and he doesn't even look like he's in bad shape, But to hear that he had diabetes, like that scared me. To really watch now, like the quantities of stuff that I'm eating, especially like because I get it, I have a big sweet tooth, and like I'm very aware of this, but I indulge sometimes too much, And sometimes I'm just like, fuck it, like just the munchies, you know, like
Right.
why not? Like one box of milk duds isn't gonna hurt anybody. But then I'm like, no, that
That
one box,
collectively,
right?
like, yeah.
That one box can be split throughout the week instead of
Yeah.
like eating all at once.
I also think that, like, that's why I think that's why you should be like kind to everyone that like you encounter, because you don't, like you said, like you didn't know that was going on with your friend. Like you don't know what's going on like other people's lives. Like they look healthy, like they look a certain way, and like at home like they could be like completely struggling, you know, with self-image and like, you know, eating habits and stuff. So I always preach about like being kind, like never, like I would never like comment on anyone's like appearance or anything like that. Like I just feel like that is like completely rude. Like that's just something you wouldn't do, you know? Just to be like aware of like, you know, other people have like other things going on, you know?
Yeah. When you were told that question, when you were asked if you were anorexic, like do you remember what age that was? Like did you even understand the
Bro,
question?
yeah. I had to have been like in middle school, because that's when like your self-esteem is kind of like fluctuating, you know, like you're not a kid anymore. Like when, I mean, you're a kid, but like you're not like in elementary school, like you're in middle school where like, you know,
You're becoming more aware of things.
kids are becoming more aware like of their own bodies and other people's bodies. And like, you know, like they develop, like, let's say you get more like freedom, I guess, like in middle school, and to figure out like who you are and like where you fall pretty much. So a lot of it goes into like clothes and like, you know, just like very materialistic things and like your own like body and stuff. So it was definitely like a hard time to be a kid in like middle school, because yeah, like you were saying, like kids are becoming more aware, so like they know what anorexia is, you know, they know what like eating disorders are, like they have a very like simple understanding of like what it is. So like they're also curious, like, oh, are you this, are you that, you know? But like to hear that, like that was extremely like hurtful. And like since then I was like, oh my god, like people think this of me, but like they could be like further from the truth, you know, like that's not it. Yeah.
So do we like just stop using nicknames like based on like appearance? Like what do you think like the next step is in tearing down the whole like, you know?
I think like not having those nicknames at all, like if you could just like wipe those from your vocabulary. But like I understand that like these are nicknames that your parents have given you, that your family's all like you already have. So I guess like the only way you could like really stop them is by like telling them like, hey, like, you know, that's kind of hurtful to me, you know? And like same thing, like they're probably going to get defensive, you know? But like you have to set your own boundaries of like what you want, like what you don't. And like also like for you not to carry that further down the line, like you just wouldn't say those words, you know?
Right.
You would speak positivity into like your family, like your kids, you know?
Right. Because even calling someone flaco or flaca is the same thing. It has the same effects it does on calling someone gordo or gorda.
But I will say fat phobia is like definitely greater than like skinny shaming. Definitely.
Yeah. You want to light these joints?
Sure.
Dude, if we post like clips about this, or even like people listening, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be people thinking like, well, these names are out of like endearment, you know, like these names like didn't cause me any harm, so like why would I want to not pass that down to my kids?
Well, like just because you say like that didn't affect me, like I think it did at least a little bit at some point, you know?
Especially like I was saying earlier, like I didn't think it affected me, but until I realized like
like I never like that
really
whole
might
like
have.
yeah, that whole comment about the anorexia, like back when I was a kid, like it hurt a little, but like then I was like, oh, like well, it really wasn't anything until like now where I'm just like I have a close family member that does struggle with like eating disorders, and like I really wanted to like analyze like going back like my own feelings with like body dysmorphia and like eating habits and all that. And like that's when I was like, you know what, like those comments were hurtful for me, you know. And like like tons of kids are going through it, not just like girls but like guys. Like when you were telling that story about like the diabetes like of your friend, I really thought you were going to say that like he developed an eating disorder because
Well, I personally don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like you never know. Like, dude, eating disorders are like very prevalent in men too, and it's like extremely like heartbreaking to think that like they don't get the same recognition, I guess, as like most women, because they see it as like not a masculine thing, you know,
To
like
worry about like your eating or like your weight.
to like have an eating disorder. Like you would almost rather be in denial than like be like, oh, like I have an eating disorder, which is why they go undiagnosed. And dude, like people die from this, you know? It's extremely sad.
I don't want to, I guess, I'm not put you on the spot, but like, how do you recognize, like, how would a guy who doesn't know he has an eating disorder recognize that he has an eating disorder?
Well, like I think you would realize that you would have like you have an unhealthy relationship with food. You know, like there's always this like little thought. And like even if you're like, nah, that isn't it, like I think you should look into it. If you're like really like going hard at the gym, you're exercising like a crazy amount of times like during the day, like if you're not being conscious about it, about like being healthy and like finding an how do I say it? Finding
Balance?
like finding a healthy way to like either lose or gain weight, like that's when I think you should like definitely seek out some help, you know, just like look some stuff up. It's like okay, like it's not like a shameful thing, like you're sick, like you have to recognize that and like, you know, want to get better. It's all about like you yourself are going to have to want to change. And that is I understand that it's like an incredibly like hard step because it's a disorder, you know, like it's a mental illness to like have those things. So
Right.
I get that it's really hard to accept and to want to change.
So I guess for me, like I just wouldn't understand like what is an unhealthy relationship with food. Like for example, for myself, right? Like I feel like I'm very busy, so I eat sometimes like once a day, right? So like is an unhealthy relationship with food not eating enough, or is it like being very cautious about what you're eating because you might hate yourself later? Like is that more of an unhealthy relationship?
It could be the start of an unhealthy relationship. I think once you develop a pattern of it, that's when it becomes like greater and it actually becomes like an eating disorder. Like, yeah, I eat once a day. Like people, I'll give this example. Like people who smoke, people who can't eat without smoking first. Like, I'm sorry to tell you, but like you have an eating disorder. Like that's not like eating disorders aren't like the regular anorexia, the bulimia. Like there's different types of like disordered eating, and that's definitely one of them. You know, like you can't like have a meal, enjoy a meal. Like you can't taste any type of food without like having to smoke first. Like that's not okay, you know? And I think it's also like our job. Like I get that we smoke on the pod and like, you know, like we love to smoke. Like it's fun, but we also want to practice, like we want to preach practicing safe ways to like consume, you know, like don't do the whole like I have to smoke like until literally like I can't eat anymore, you know, because that's extremely dangerous. Can you pass me the lighter, please? Thanks. I feel like I'm getting really worried.
No, you're good, dude. I mean, I think it's important to talk about this stuff because this is, I don't know, maybe it's because like I don't know many people with eating disorders because I don't ask or like they don't tell me.
Right.
So like I haven't made myself aware of the topic, right? And so like now that I have the chance to talk to someone who's very aware of the topic, like I could possibly learn, well, especially now that we're even talking about it in a podcast, like so many people listening to this are probably gonna start thinking to themselves like, like let me start looking at my relationship with food,
Right.
and like that way I can learn something about myself, and like maybe myself, like let me ask questions for myself, because like I personally don't know if I don't have a healthy relationship with food. I think I do, but maybe I don't.
Right.
You know, but
And
I
I
don't
don't want to
think.
say, like, I don't want to say I have all the answers. Like, I'm not a
That's why I
professional.
wasn't trying to
Like,
ask you that one question. I was like, I don't want to like put you on the spot like that.
right. But I mean, it is something that I'm like super passionate about. Like, over the past years, like, I've been trying to like really understand like what are the causes and how you can help. And if you do know someone that has like an unhealthy relationship, or that's like really struggling with like body dysmorphia, like eating disorders, like really like you want to help as much as you can, but the only thing you can really do is support them, because I think a lot of people like forget that it's not about you. Like, it's not your fault, it's not about you. Like, this is them, and all you can really do is support them in the way they need to be supported. That's like pretty much it. Like, if they don't want to talk to you about it, like you have to accept that, like when they're ready, like they'll come to you and they'll tell you. And I know like firsthand, like hearing that like someone close to you has this, you always want to blame yourself, but you have to take that off of you, because it's not your fault, But yeah, just helping in the way of like however they need to be supported is how like you should be supporting them. I know that you're going to want to do like all this extra stuff and like whatever, but like if they don't ask for it, like it's not up to you. Like, it's okay.
That is probably some amazing advice for parents out there who are struggling with a kid who has an eating disorder.
Especially parents, and especially in the Latino community, Latinx community. Like, oh my God, like, dude, eating disorders, I don't even think exist in the brains of like immigrant parents at all,
Right.
which is terrible, because if let's say they find out their kid has an eating disorder, like they don't understand what it is, how this happened, what to do now, where to go from here, and like seeing my family members like go through that and like not understanding like, okay, well, like this has never happened before. What do I do now? And seeing them like really go above and beyond to like learn and want to get to know like what's going on has been incredible, honestly.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are some tips for families dealing with this? Like, that your family have used to like kind of get, I don't want to say through this, but like, be able to, what's the word?
So like, unfortunately, like for a lot of people, like this kind of information and these kind of resources, like it's really not like affordable almost for a lot of people, like having to go see therapists, like having to go reach out to like facilities, like some people don't have the money like at all they barely have money to like get a checkup at the doctor, so it's hard to like know that there's really no like resources like readily available. So I would say just like if you don't have the means to do that kind of stuff, there's definitely free programs, there's support groups. You just have to like, I guess, like look them up in your area. Like it could be like a single like Google search, and I just think it's really saddening to know that like not a lot of the information that is shown though is like catered to like anyone that isn't like white, because like illnesses show up differently in like every culture, like illnesses show up differently on different people. So like when the research only shows the causes and the effects of like white people and not, let's say, black or brown people, they're not gonna know, like how is this information like getting distributed when like we can't recognize like everyone else, like all these other people, you know? So I definitely think there has to be a better movement, which is what I've always like tried to preach. Like, you guys follow me on my socials, like it's something I'm super vocal about, where like I want to have more resources available for like low income, like Black and brown people, you know? Because like that kind of information is not really out there. But
Wow. Honestly, I'm speechless. Like, I'm very speechless. Like, I am just like, wow. I think this would be a good point to end the episode because I don't want to add more stuff to neglect the impact of what you've already said. I think like this is honestly like this information that you already put out there is great, and I think this is a strong point to end.
For sure. For sure. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, thank you guys again for tuning into the 420 episode. And I hope you guys had some fun. Definitely like reach out to us if you guys are curious about any of the resources that I have already gathered and that I know. Let me know. Reach out to me like on the socials and, you know, let's connect. Thank you guys.
Awesome.